I don't like. I listen to a handful of music podcasts, and I feel like I've listened to enough now that I've gotten a few different styles or flavors of music podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we go deeper than anyone, and we're definitely less professional. Welcome to Backtracking, the show where three old friends take a second listen to classic bands, influential albums, track by track. I am J. William Hall.
And I'm Dan Fite. We'll be taking this journey together, providing context, both personal and historical, on some legendary bands. For our third season, we've selected 15 of our favorite albums that we think deserve a good old-fashioned backtrack.
Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Raph and JW Dan make this podcast every week. Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Get ready for podcast action.
J. William Hall,
Yes.
you made it through the intro. We are back to cover one of your selections this season.
Right. Yes.
Side B.
Side B of one of my 5 most underrated albums of all time. Albums that have flown under the radar.
Yeah.
In some way or fashion. And need to be re-examined, need to be backtracked hard.
Yeah, I will tell you what, this album, it's incontrovertible that is the case. This is a very, I would say, not a well-known band or album at all.
Right. A band whose legacy has been somewhat lost to time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, I would say that they're more well-known in the U.S. than felt. Do you think that's fair?
I do think that's fair. I
Yeah.
think that Dumptruck is more well known. I think that Seth Tiven has continued Dumptruck as more of a solo vehicle.
Yeah.
He's been in Austin, Texas. He's now in Albequerque. I'm sure he has played here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
But Felt, alas, has not.
Now, let's just take a little side journey before we cover the cover, which we're going to have to do. We're going to take a sidetrack, a geographic sidetrack.
Yeah.
Albuquerque. Have you ever been?
I have flown into Albuquerque.
ABQ, baby.
But I spent most of that little sojourn long weekend in Santa Fe.
Wow.
Not Albuquerque.
And did you like Santa Fe?
I did. It was lovely. Lovely as a tourist visitor.
Yeah. Would you go back?
I mean, there are plenty of other places that I would go first if given the choice. But if somebody was like, hey, free trip to Santa Fe, you got to go, I'd be like, great, let's go to Santa Fe.
Okay. Well, that was a very soft endorsement. I'm going to say that was a very soft endorsement of Santa Fe.
If the Santa Fe Tourist Commission wants to use that snippet for their tourist campaign, they will have to pay for it with money, cash money. So
excellent.
But we're staying indie. We're staying true to our Gen X roots. We're not going to sell out to the Santa Fe Tourism Commission or any other corporation.
Capitalist pigs at the Santa Fe Tourism.
They ruin everything.
All right, so we've got a bunch that we need to cover, but I don't know if you remember last week we said you would summarize very briefly the drama around Dumptruck, the release of this record, their record label, the lawsuit. Because as you remember, we covered side A, then there was the terrific Seth Tiven interview, a must for every fan of indie rock.
Yes.
And then we're going to get back into this. But just, for the sake of anybody who maybe, missed the last episode, but they want to stay up to date, Maybe just give us a little bit of that.
All right.
And
so
then we're going to cover the cover.
Okay. So here's J. William Hall's synopsis, summarization, simplification of the Dumptruck story. So they get to this third album, For the Country. They've got a name producer in a name studio overseas. Big Time Records is treating them right. Things go well in the studio. They create For the Country. Okay? The album has momentum. It is well received by critics and listeners alike. I don't know that you could say it was storming up the charts. I don't think it was on the regular album charts, but as far as college rock and whatever, I mean, it was, big enough that I was hearing it on my local alternative station, People were putting it on mixtapes for one another. WXXP XX 100.7 Pittsburgh. They'd play two tracks by the same band, and it'd be like double exposure. So anyway, whenever that happens randomly on my iPod in the kitchen, then Sally and I, because we're from the same hometown, we both listened to Double X, so we know all the Double X catchphrases. Anyway, so I don't even remember what the original point was. I'm going to be honest. I thought I could get it. But, we're getting older. Gen X, we're getting older. Hey.
You've got to explain you have to explain the history of the band, the lawsuit.
Oh, okay. So anyway, momentum is building.
Yeah.
So they go on tour. They're touring this album, right? So they're going around the U.S. They get to the West Coast. Meanwhile, other labels are sniffing around, and they know that their record contract is up, or they're not quite sure, and they're kind of like looking into it. And it turns out that Big Time Records failed to sign an extension or whatever to their contract by the certain date. And in the meantime, a larger record label, like a major label, I believe BMG, EMI, I feel like it was one of the big three, they were interested in Dumptruck. And so Dumptruck was kind of like, hey, but meanwhile, Big Time was trying to negotiate with that label, but legally Big Time should not have been involved because they were not under contract. So when Dumptruck tried to kind of go with them directly, tried to negotiate directly, Big Time slapped him with a lawsuit, $5 million, which was like a death penalty for a band of Dumptruck's position,
Yeah.
And they were, undoubtedly, Seth was hard on himself in the interview, I thought. He kind of, he was open about his regrets and where he made a wrong decision or, this or that. But these were young dudes in their fucking 20s who didn't know, shit from Shinola. And they're trying to navigate a legal, contract and a lawsuit, and it's a lot of pressure, and so I hope that he's, more forgiving of himself, because I think that that was a shitty position that Big Time, in my opinion, put them into, and then ultimately Big Time walked away, but it ruined Dumptruck's momentum. It ruined their career. It broke up the band. There were all these consequences of this stupid, petty lawsuit, because Big Time wanted their grubby fucking hands on the money they thought they could make off of Dumptruck, because Dumptruck was, there were several bands on Big Time that were kind of in this next big thing, potential kind of position. I want to say Hoodoo Gurus were in there, and I can't remember the others off the top of my head, but they were bands that were like big on college rock. They had toured. They were like getting, bigger with each album. And but Big Time, fucked up their finances, and they were in bad straits, and they were trying to make what they could make, off of this band. They fucked up. They didn't, renegotiate the contract or whatever in time. And, but I mean, this is a case study in an example of ways in which bands get fucked over by the music industry. I mean, maybe this is a more 1987 example, but I'm sure the equivalent still exists. Like, there are predatory being predatory is incentivized, I think, like, not just in the record industry, but and so I think, like, young, vulnerable talent, gets exploited for money. Like, that's the deal. That's the bargain. So, Dumptruck fell prey to it, and, hats off to Seth for keeping it going, surviving all of that,
that's right.
With some version of Dumptruck intact. They paid a hefty price. The
whole thing, they started feeling it, from what I read, while they were recording this record. They could feel that the record label was like running out of money.
Something wasn't right. Yeah, checks were coming late. They were bouncing. Like that. Yeah. That kind of thing was starting to happen. And I think that the fact that they had Hugh Jones in their corner, because he was their producer, and he was, from the sound of it, he was pretty good to them, and kind of taught them some stuff, just about like the record industry and how things work or whatever, and so, I think Seth is learning this on the go, and at this point he's kind of the primary songwriter. So, there's probably some expectation on him that he's got it handled, or whatever. And, I just think all of those things came together, and it's an unfortunate, that's why this album kind of, faded because, the other things that Big Time did go under. And so I think this album was out of print. It was in legal limbo for, some number of years. So it took a long time for the reissues and things to start happening. But I think by that time they had missed the alt country wave had crested, and so it was like, it probably just didn't hit in the same way, even though the reviews that you find of it out there, like the retrospective reissue reviews are still like super positive. Like, I think there's general agreement that this is a lost classic kind of album.
Yeah. All right, so is it time for us to cover the cover?
It's past time, I would say.
Okay, so Tim Swan made this cover. It looked to me like he made a lot of other record covers around this time for bands in the Boston area.
Yes, that was my impression as well. And a lot of bands that I think shared a member here and there, like Big Dipper, Miracle Legion. Tim Swan, I believe Seth said, is the brother of Kirk Swan, the other founder.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I think Seth was friends with both of them or whatever. But yeah, he continued to do Dumptruck albums. Gigolo Ants, do you remember that name?
Yeah.
Mark Mulcahy, I see a solo album. So yeah, it seems like he probably friends. They seem like, friend group kind of.
Yeah. Well, so this one is a kind of edge to edge photo, like a beautiful kind of open sky background. In the very close foreground, I think is a dandelion with the seeds being blown off. And then just very simply Dumptruck in like pink up at the top, and then the name of the album down at the bottom. I think this is a 10 out of 10 cover. No comments. I love this cover.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah, I think it's a terrific cover.
Now, as I recall, Seth tells in the interview a little bit how the cover came to be, just that it happened to be a photo that he was at Tim Swan's place, and it was like on display or something, and he saw it and was like already kind of formulating the album and just like
Yeah.
in that moment was like, yeah, that should be the cover, you know? So yeah, I mean, I've always loved this cover. Like that is definitely one of the things that even before I heard it, like I had seen it and was kind of like, oh, that's kind of a cool, like just the color of it really stood out. Now here is the one, because I'm Gen X, I'm not allowed to fully enjoy anything.
Yeah. Okay.
No, like, yeah, so I cannot grant a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9.8.
Yeah.
And here is the 0.2 that bugs me just a tiny bit.
Okay.
I wish that the words for the country, it's all lowercase. They've got them spaced out real nice.
Yeah.
Nice, beautiful blue. It picks up the sky.
all
I wish
caps.
it was moved down, the whole thing, just a little bit, so it was a little more centered. So it was a little more centered on that dark.
on the ground. Yeah.
It's a little too
Oh
close.
no, but I thought you were gonna say you wish it was in all caps.
No, like I know the whole, lowercase, all lowercase, like sometimes it doesn't feel right, but in this instance, because it's all caps for dump truck, like which feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's like a word that you want in all caps, dump truck, just like this solid boom, and so I think it works, it softens, the all caps of dump truck, like it balances that kind of hard soft combo that they really deliver on the album. Am I right?
Yeah, no, it is. I would probably go all caps in the lower now that I'm looking at it. But no, I think this is a 10 out of 10 cover.
Yeah,
it's really great.
They're not
It's a
afraid.
great cover.
They're not afraid to use the pink. They're not afraid to use the pink. Does that make them less?
I thought
of a
about
man?
whether I would use. I'd
Less
probably go with a yellow,
masculine.
but I think that the pink is. I think it works.
What's wrong with pink? Why culturally do we associate pink automatically with femininity? Especially living in a tropical location such as you do. Pink, it should be a widely accepted color by all genders, all stereotypes.
Well, listen, I don't disagree with you. I just don't know that I'd use it on that cover. I think I'd go with a nice yellow.
Well, that would be a 9 out of 10, wouldn't it?
Well, listen, I think it's a great cover. All right, so is there anything else we need to discuss?
No, that's short and sweet, that one.
All right, so we are going to get...
Believe it or not, listeners, especially first-time listeners, that was short and sweet.
We are going to get into track 1 of side B, Going Nowhere. Some say this is the big hit. 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Let's go. So I think that lyrically we're working in the same arena as we were on the first side. Alienation, loneliness. But one thing I think in these lyrics I thought was interesting is that "will you come down to see me again" refrain is a very hopeful sentiment contrasted with "going nowhere" and kind of the rest of it.
Yeah. It still paints a portrait of somebody who's kind of just like kicking around, like doesn't have much going on, and they're reaching out to somebody who might come and visit them. Will you come down and see me again, or whatever? It does kind of combine that kind of like, it's got a lonely feel, but it's also got a little bit of hope to it. I mean, really, the star of the show on this one is B.J. Cole brings his pedal steel to town, and Seth, tells the story of him just coming in and just being like, first or second take, like, just doing the whole thing. Yeah. And it's a pretty amazing solo. And I'm 92.5% certain that this is what caught my ear when I first heard it on the radio way back when.
It really can't be overstated how rare pedal steel was in kind of rock circles during this time. You know what I mean? It was rare.
Or at least not respected. Like, I think it was more of a like maybe, in alternative radio, it would have been seen as more of like a gaggy type of thing, or I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Like,
now, all right,
because
so
I already mentioned there was like the Paisley Underground and the
it's
West
true.
Coast
Yeah, we've talked about
bands.
this.
I think they dabbled,
but like,
it really stands out on this song, this recording.
But I think it's interesting do you think that there was a little hand-wringing about selection of this as kind of the single, given that?
Well, I know Seth said that, in the band, and they thought that Island should be the single, because I think that is, I would still argue that that's kind of the definitive Dumptruck song. Like, if you're going to play one song for somebody and say, if you like this, you'll probably like Dumptruck. If you don't like it, you're not going to like Dumptruck. That it's Island, like, in my opinion. But the record label did not like that as a single because the first chorus is wordless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a choice, and an artistic choice or whatever. The label didn't like it. The band felt kind of defiant about it, and Hugh Jones backed them and was like, no. So they went with Going Nowhere. But I mean, I think it's a great single. I mean, to me, it's upbeat. It jumps off the turntable.
Yeah, well, I think it's just interesting if this is your first kind of taste of this band, even just this band and the rest, compared to the rest of the album, the pedal steel is pretty distinctive here. I mean, there's a full solo, and there's not a lot of pedal. I think there's one other song with a little bit of a pedal steel solo, and then maybe hits here and there. But like, it's not like a album that's full of pedal steel by any stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, not to overplay the pedal steel, because that you're right. It's only on like a couple songs on the album. I think Kevin Salem's and probably Seth, some of his guitar playing, like, they were just leaning into country-ish licks and touches, and even the sound, of their guitars at times is more of that, like, just big reverby kind of, wide open spaces sort of sound. And so, I think the pedal steel, I mean, it just adds to that stew, but it's very distinctive. And this was, I would argue, the most prominent song off the album, like the one that was played on radio and, that kind of thing. They had a video for it. I don't know if you backtracked deep enough to
I
find
did
the
not
video.
do a video backtrack this time, but I think that like the pedal steel is a little unique. But the other thing that, tell me if I'm wrong, the Tiven's vocals sound unique on this song relative to every other song on the album.
Oh,
There is a tone that is a little bit different of the vocals on this track. I think there's a little bit more softness.
yeah. I mean, I think he's working that a little more on this album in general. Now he's in charge of a whole album, so he's not just singing half of an album. Like, and I think he went for some different styles, of songs altogether. Like, I think that's what's so impressive about the album to me, is that even within that traditional rock framework, they add a couple touches here and there, and it makes the album feel all over the place. But I think the songs are a little different styles as well. So
Now, what did you think about the weird figure in this one? I'm not going to be able to sing it to you because I can't remember how it sounds, but I made a note of it. There's a little section in here that's like a measure of 5/4 and then a measure of 6/4. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Is it in the chorus? Is it the "Will you come down? Will you come down?
Yes.
To see me again?"
Yeah,
There's a little stutter kind of move in there.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I think that's a hook. Like that's part of that's why you remember it now. Like, it's part of the catchiness of it that's kind of like catches your ear. I mean, the song is super catchy. I think that chorus is really catchy.
Yeah.
It should have been huge, but alas, it was. I think it probably did okay at college radio, but probably, obviously didn't go like REM U2 size big.
Yeah. All right, so are we ready to move? That one, the last thing I want to say, definitely had a Freddie Johnston kind of feel.
Yes. Yes, and you know, I'm talking about REM, and just a couple albums later, they're doing pedal steel and shit on their album. So, you know, Dumptruck, man. Like, I think the timing, you know, just
it was just a little bit off. Yeah. All right. So listen, let's move on. Speaking of timing, this is the epic track on the album. It is 5 minutes flat. It is For the Country. It is the eponymous track. Let's listen.
You don't know what you're on the brink of. Drifting on an ocean. Drifting on an ocean till you die.
Okay, so the single lyric that I think if you were to remember off of this album would be Drifting on an Ocean Till You Die.
right. And they sing it in such a like almost uplifting kind of way, like yeah, which I think is part of the dichotomy of Dumptruck, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something that, you know, a band like Felt shares, right? Like they had some very jaunty, upbeat sounding songs on Forever Breathes, The Lonely Word, and then you know, but if you know what the lyrics are, you're like, oh, like that's a kind of dark thought or whatever. So yeah, I mean, Seth Tiven on this album definitely fits that, you know, to a T. But yeah, I love how, you know, this is one where like they connect this almost with like Going Nowhere. It kind of drifts. I think this, you know, when Going Nowhere was issued as a single, I'm sure they just faded it out. But on the album, it kind of drifts into For the Country, which rewards, you know, patient listening. Like you let it unfold. It's sort of like a sound thing that unfolds into a song, you know. I think that's really cool, and it's just cool how they did that at the beginning of side 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Now that opening bit, the opening quiet verses, in this instance specifically, Seth's vocals really reminded me of Luna.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Obviously predates Luna by 15 or years or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
maybe
they're
not
very
15 years, but 10 years.
You know, they're soft, but they're very clear, like up on the mic.
Yeah.
I don't know. They sound that way to me, but I can't draw a direct line in that instance.
Okay, excellent. All right, so
I'm not saying it's not true.
Now, what else do we have to say about this one?
Well, this is the title track, and so that does place like a little bit more importance, you know, on it in a way, and it's sort of epic in scope. Like it, you know, it starts really small and ambient almost, and then builds into this, you know, the big Drifting on an Ocean Till You Die, you know, sing along. There's sort of a complicated bit when they're transitioning, where Seth said in the interview that it confuses every drummer who ever plays with Dumptruck when they do like 2 hits and then 3 hits and then 2 hits.
No, that's all right. So listen, I'm going to do a housekeeping in midline. I realized there was a copy paste error because I have this note on both songs, but it was definitely this song. This is the one that there's a measure of 5/4 and then a measure of 6/4. I think it's 5/4 and 6/4.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
and it does that like twice in the song, and like a, you know.
I think you're not wrong though. This might be in the previous one. There was a little bit of like the whole band does a start stop kind of like maneuver.
And they do a lot of that, a lot of that kind of stuff.
I think that's one of the things that Devlin brings to Dumptruck. You know, is they do this kind of coordinated start stop. You know, and Tupelo made hay out of that kind of thing too. I mean, that was part of their, you know, I don't know if that's a punk thing per se, but I don't know. There's something irreverent about it. I don't know why.
It just is like feels to me bar bandy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know how else to
just
say
trying
it,
to keep,
but like pretty kind of rowdy
trying to keep
bar
it interesting.
bandy.
Yeah, trying to keep it interesting for yourself and for the audience. You know,
yeah,
not just do standard chord changes. So.
Kind of like girl band, I think, really did that pretty well.
Oh, I mean, we changed it up in many ways, to make it a unique listening and
memorable evening.
Visual experience
That's
for
right.
the audiences.
But
this was pre-internet, so nobody knows of the glories
that
existed in that era. But many are romantic for that type of thing, and I think that Dumptruck is a good example. Pre-internet,
it's true. So I will say that the verse in this one feels a little bit disconnected from the chorus, and I think the chorus is really the kind of thing about the song.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, the verses sort of tell a tale of like, it sounds like someone in trouble on the run. I think I said to Seth something about some of his lyrics feel Springsteenian to me. And it almost like, that's to me what it feels like. It's like this,
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a young,
well,
that it's
Springsteen
like a story
definitely
song.
has that, like, I want to I'm just knocking around this town.
Yeah.
Kind of a
this
thing.
blue collar kind of like, man, life's unfair. And, I got into trouble. Like, I'm on the run, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your life was like, but for me,
you were on the run
in
from
trouble
the law.
on the run. I was running down the alley, and the cops were coming behind with the spotlights. Just stop,
Where was that area that was like kind of off the highway that was out in the forest that we went in Indiana?
I took you somewhere out in the forest. Near a highway?
Or off one of the roads, and there was like was it like a quarry or something? I
was
don't
it
know.
the reservoir? Was it Tulik Reservoir?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, man, I took you to the Watcher.
Oh, the Watcher. Yeah.
Up in the woods, the
That's right.
big stones up in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to tell you exactly where because it's a secret to this day.
Wow. Well, listeners, you guys may, we've given some clues. So just respect private property. Don't do anything crazy.
Erase your brains.
All right. So should we move on to dead weight?
Yes, we should.
All right. 4
but
minutes.
Will we? That's the question.
We will.
Should.
4 minutes
Okay,
and
we
24 seconds. Let's go.
Well, you tell yourself it doesn't matter, though it makes your blood run cold. You try hard not to let it get you down when you know you're bought and sold.
All right. Tell me about the lyrics because I couldn't make heads or tails of them.
I mean, this is kind of a sad sack song,
Yeah.
and I mean, it definitely lends itself to a country-ish kind of image of, sometimes you'd think I'd learn from my mistakes, but here I go all over again. Like that sets the scene, it's like, this is somebody feeling sorry for themselves, as many people do.
Yeah.
I would say everybody at some point, it's a very bleak kind of lyric. There's no light at the end of the tunnel of this. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's again friends. There's like a lot of conflicted feelings about friends on this record.
Yeah, and I think that Seth did leave Boston and moved several times, and it sounds like he's still friends with a lot of the guys from back in the day, but I don't know, who knows what was going on exactly, but you're right, there is a lot of friend angst, and I don't know that I think young people still have friend angst.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to declare that was, a Gen
No
X
longer a
thing,
thing.
but I don't think it is. I think it crosses generations.
So I do feel like on the music for this one, I feel like the chorus is really great. I just kind of wish the whole song settled into that groove.
Yeah, there's no drums here, so there is no groove per se. It's just kind of this it's sort of a dirge. I mean, it's sort of a slow dirge, very somber, kind of self-absorbed, self-reflective.
I like that. I like that vibe a lot. I just think that,
Also, yeah, this is part of my Springsteen connection too, because this reminds me of like Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like, this has that kind of feel. You hear this distant harmonica, like lonely in the distance.
Can I just say I one of my notes is I love this harmonica because it's sitting way low in the mix, and usually when people have harmonica, it's like fucking top thing in the mix, and so now
Right,
I'm
like,
on the Blues Traveler, and I'm like, you know.
Yeah, this isn't Stevie Wonder.
No. It really
lead harmonica. Yeah,
it like works really well. It's like super nice, kind of a little bit back, like almost like a keyboard, you know?
It's kind of a sound effect, really. Like, it just creates a lonely, like, you know, is it a train going by in the distance, you know, kind of thing. You know, this person sitting alone with their dark, you know, kind of self-defeating thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, if you're into that kind of thing, this is the song for you.
Yeah. I like
Now,
this
we
one.
know, you know, like Mark Eitzel, for example, wrote, you know, very much in this vein. You know, I don't know if that's a distinct, I mean, I'm sure there are, you know, people writing from that place as well, you know, to this day.
Oh, yeah,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, so, you know, it's
So
sad.
I think the last thing I want to point out musically on this one is it is a great guitar solo. The lead guitar line in this song is really great.
Yeah, I mean, tasty, clean, memorable, melodic, you know, like technically just primo, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that way throughout the album. I mean, there's a little bit, almost like a little bit of a jazzy influence at times, but there's also kind of like the country licks and, you know, just like a more technical kind of approach as opposed to just like virtuoso, wild all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
Like well thought out, and that's again, like, you know,
It's just like he plays like a studio musician.
Well, and that's
You know what I
why he became
He basically became one.
Yeah, an in-demand studio guy playing with all of these people in New York City throughout the 90s.
Yeah,
so
like Yola Tango, right? Didn't he play with them?
I saw that credit, but I don't know what he did exactly. But
yeah.
you know, it's a huge list, and you know, but I think he shows his versatility, and you know, just how good he is at this throughout this album. So it's not a surprise that, you know, he went on to do all this stuff. But you know, Dumptruck going forward is without Kevin Salem. Like, it's different guest guitarists and Seth doing all the guitars sometimes, and so it's a different beast a little bit, you know. You know,
All
that's
right,
just how it is.
It feels to me like we're ready to get into the third track.
Okay.
All right. You know what it's called?
Is this the third or this is the fourth?
This is the fourth track. As I
On
said,
side two.
I
Yes.
said it's time for the fourth track. It is Wire. It is 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Let's go.
Tear down the wire, tear down the rope, tear down the wire, tear down the rope, tear down the wire, tear down the wire.
Okay. I think the Tear Down the Wire lyric is extremely evocative, but aside from that, I have no idea kind of how to think about these lyrics.
Yeah, I would say that they evoke sort of rebellion. They evoke kind of like fighting authority, you know, fighting for freedom, fighting, you know.
Kind of like
So
the
there-
Authority song by John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah, you know, like it doesn't really give you, this is the cry to arms. This is, it doesn't give you the like, we lost, you know. So in that way, this feels you know, for Dumptruck, this is an anthemic,
Upbeat.
like a big rocker, upbeat, like, you know, this is the penultimate song on the album. Like, this is you know, going out on a big high kind of you know, feeling.
Yeah, it is a big feeling in this song. The breakdown though for the guitar solo is my favorite part.
Yeah, beautiful guitar playing here. You've got the pedal steel reappears. They trade lead guitar bits back and forth. That's another hallmark of this album, which is a very television kind of thing to do. That's why they get compared there a lot. And that's what, when it was Kirk Swan, it was a two lead guitars kind of going back and forth. And so they do maintain that, and now the pedal steel is in the mix as well. So you've got three kind of things like trading around. And it's just very seamless and really flowy and beautifully played, I think.
And did you happen to notice the what I think were castanets in the background?
Yeah, just one little.
Yeah,
they go to the. Suddenly they go to the. Yeah, it sounds like a flamenco.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole mood switches. Just and I mean, and that was an example of just like a creative kind of production choice. You know, to make if there's one thing I would say about the first album especially, and granted this was just two guys like, fucking around, let's record our songs. Yeah. So there's not a lot of dynamics to them. They're not like going like up and down within songs and doing all the things that make a song interesting versus static and kind of samey, Yeah. And I think, this is a choice that they did not make elsewhere on the album, so it stands out, Yeah. But they go from like this big anthemic rocker, suddenly they're doing this like quick little flamenco kind of breakdown section.
Yeah.
But then it comes back. So hats off. Huzzah. Why was this not huge? Why was this not as big as U2?
It definitely has it for me. It had that Uncle Tupelo Anodyne vibe.
Okay.
That era, that album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, Tupelo, I think like early on they leaned more on traditional, combined with cowpunk, punk, originals. By Anodyne, they had gotten smooth.
Yeah. Anodyne is kind of like a big label, almost record. I don't know if it was on a big label, but it was it felt like a.
It was felt on like Sire.
Yeah, it felt like AMC Mercury, kind of. You know what I mean?
Well, it did, but that's a testament to how good they were because they recorded that album live. Like,
what? Wow.
Yeah, I think there were. Wow. I mean, if they overdubbed anything, it was very minimal. They did it live as a 5-piece, so like that's what you got to think about when. If we ever backtrack Tupelo, which we've threatened.
We have threatened. We have. I don't know if the world is ready. All right, listen, before we get into that, we got to get to the final track on this record, which is Barking Up the Wrong Tree. It is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's go.
Scared of what the day will bring. Barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree. Barking up the wrong tree.
Another lyric that is full of loneliness and isolation. It is another song about friends. It like is about relationships, friend relationship. Just it feels very clear that it's not about a love relationship.
Here's what J. William Hall in an alternate reality would do. I would take this album and I would take Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders and I would strip that of whatever music is in it and I would replace it with songs from this album. I think that would work pretty well.
Yeah, you think so? All right. You know what? I
would in an alternate reality, but not in this
I'll have
one.
to think about that. I'll have to think about that. It's
This
been a long
song-
time since I've seen The Outsiders, actually.
Teenage alienation, teenage loneliness, male loneliness, boys, teenage, The Outsiders, Do It for Johnny.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
it's true.
Friends,
It's true.
Your gang of pals, this song starts with this, this very distinctive riff, and then you've got that lonely whistle in the background. And
What do you think about the vibe to end the album on?
I think it's really cool. I think it's cool as hell. It's spooky.
It's
like
downbeat.
they end on
it's downbeat.
It
It's kind of weird.
It is, but it's also kind of epic. Like I mean, he gets to like shouting towards the end when he gets to the big like barking up the road. You know, like he's like shouting. But like I feel like it has this like spooky lurch to it.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's really cool. It's unlike anything else on the album. So I think it leaves you with this like mystery, you know, kind of feel. But I know you don't like mystery. You like to wrap things up in a tidy package. I like to leave a big loose end flapping.
I like this one. This is the second half of the album. I think this is pretty common, but the second half of the album is more challenging. Even though the lead single is the first song on the second side, I think the second side of this album is just a little more experimental. Same way that it was on the last week, right? In the Angel in Real Time, I think that's true about that album as well. I think that's frequently true. But I think it's definitely true in this case.
You try to hook the listeners with side one. This is still from the era of no skips. This is like, okay, you're gonna put the album on. It's either a tape, it's a vinyl. Yeah, you know, you just have to listen. So like you're trying to hook them on side one and get them to flip the tape, and then you hit them with all of your weird stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to remember, like in those days, you're gonna listen to the whole album at least once because you don't have that many albums, and you're not gonna get that many albums. It's $10 to buy an album, and you probably haven't heard a single song off of it, or maybe one song.
Yeah, you buy things based on the cover, and it's in the cutout bin, but the cover looks cool, so you're like, I'll throw $2 at this, you know? Yeah, so, you know, this is sort of like the weirdest song on the album, I would say, but I think it's really cool.
Now, all right, so we're at the end here of the regular tracks. I know you had a few things you wanted to accomplish here, but one thing I wanted to say, there are a lot of B-sides, extra tracks, whatever you want to call them, on the one that I listen to on Apple Music, and I think it's the same for Spotify. Yeah. I will say that I would have preferred to just listen to the record as released, but my first bunch of times I listened to the whole thing and I just didn't really realize those were B-sides and stuff until later. Then eventually I was like, wow, why is this song on here again?
This is just one example of how streaming is ruining the listening experience. Continue.
But I would say that the first B-side that's included in that collection is called Didn't Know. And I think that Didn't Know is stronger than some of the songs that are on the album.
It definitely feels more like a single. It has like a very identifiable chorus, and it's more up tempo. Yeah. I guess if you stripped it of the lyrics or whatever and just played it beside Going Nowhere, it would have kind of the same drive to it as Going Nowhere, and maybe that's what caused them to not.
It was just too samey.
Include it. I mean, again, this is an album from an era where you had to think about the physical space. You know, on side A, side B, and what was officially on that space or not. Yeah. And so sometimes songs got cut that just, you know, they were great songs but didn't fit for whatever reason. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a super solid up tempo. Has really good. It's a pretty good recording. Like the guitar parts are really good and catchy. It's got kind of like a guitar thing that notes are kind of going back and forth. Like if you listen in headphones. Yeah. And, so why it didn't make the album, I don't know that we covered in the interview. Yeah. I don't remember.
So what do you want to say about the B-sides, just generally?
Well,
we're not going to track by track them.
Well, I just wanted to give a quick, shout out because I think they're strong. Didn't Know is one. Waiting for You is the other one, really. And that is one that's in this weird, it almost sounds like a George Harrison, like Indian kind of like beat going, like it's like a mantra kind of like feel. It's in some kind of funky time signature and has kind of an Indian feel to it. But that was very experimental, didn't fit with the rest. So that one didn't make the album either. I think they were both issued as B-sides for maybe the Going Nowhere single.
Yeah.
And that's really all I wanted to say about it, is just to check them out. But my question for you is, are you ready for J. William Hall's retracking of Dumptrucks for the Country?
Yeah, I am.
This one is simple. Yeah. So you know that I prefer the 10-song, 5 songs per side arrangement.
Yeah.
This album, as it currently exists, has 11 songs. Yeah. So I added Didn't Know. Yeah, I added Didn't Know and Waiting for You to the list, and I played with some permutations to choose 10 of those 13. Yeah. And I wound up, the only change that I made was I removed Dead Weight.
Yeah.
Perhaps, maybe the title of the song foresaw its fate in J. William Hall's retracking. I'm just saying, I'm just saying that's the one I wound up cutting.
Okay.
It's it's kind of a draggy, draggiest, thing on the B side. So that brings the sides to
6 and 4.
Well, so on side 1, then I've got it almost the same. Island, 50 Miles, Friends, Carefree, Hung Out on a Line. Side A, same side. Side B, Going Nowhere, For the Country. Oh, I moved Brush Me Back to that slot after For the Country in the place of Dead Weight.
Yeah.
Wire, Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
Yeah. Okay.
So Brush Me Back gets shifted to side B. Dead Weight drops to the post-album EP consisting of 3 songs. Didn't Know as the A side. Waiting for You, Dead Weight as the B side.
Wow. Incredible. But that is incredible, especially considering where we're going now. We are going into the place where the big bets get made. The wagers get hot and heavy. Okay? People have some exposure out there, as they say. They've got some money on the table. And they're making bets. They're setting odds.
I bet there's a bunch of bets going right now.
Yeah.
And we can analyze the data afterwards that show that you leaked insider information about but you told somebody.
I did.
You told
I didn't
your
do
wife.
It.
You told.
Nope. I didn't tell.
Someone at the bar. You were drunk.
No,
don't remember?
I'm telling you. We're gonna go right to it. I want to know from you what the worst song is on the album.
Well, I already cut it from the 11-track original album. It's Dead Weight, and I don't mean to harp. I don't mean to imply that it is Dead Weight. It's just that that's the title of the song, and it's too convenient not to ignore.
Yeah.
So but
you're
I'm gonna call it the worst song on the album. But I don't. Again, listeners, it's not a bad song. It's a solid song, but
let go of the shovel.
I had to pick
one. Let go of the shovel. Stop digging. Okay? Just stop digging. I'm telling you as a friend to stop digging. The worst song on this album is Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, doesn't matter if you disagree. I'm telling you what the worst song is, and it's Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
You were spooked out by it. You were like, you felt creepy feelings from that guitar that's like.
You think you're in trouble here? Let's go to the best song. Then you're really going to be in trouble.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, Dig Dug.
All right.
Keep digging.
I want to talk about 3 songs that are important to me.
Yeah.
From this album.
Yeah.
The first one is Going Nowhere, which I think was the first song that I heard consciously and was like, oh, the band Dumptruck. So, that was formative in terms of and I still love the song. I still think it sounds great. It's catchy as hell. The pedal steel's beautiful. It's quick in and out, like punchy chorus, all of it.
Yeah.
So great song. The song Friends was one of my early faves. Like I put on a million mixtapes for friends and you know.
For friends, it's a little on the nose.
want to be girlfriends and
yeah.
Well,
okay.
you know, I don't think I read it back then. I didn't really understand the bitterness, I guess, of it so much, you know. But like, I love the song. I thought it was a great, you know, it was really just, you know, great to listen to or whatever. But the song I'm going to pick as the best song on the album is the song that I think, you know, to me sounds like a legacy type song. It's Island. It's track 1.
Wow.
It's a statement song
Yeah.
from this lineup of the band, and I think they deliver it beautifully, and I think it's a very underrated song from a very underrated album from a very underrated band. So
wow.
there you go.
That's an impassioned speech. Unfortunately, it's the wrong answer. The best song on the album, are you ready for it? It's Dead Weight.
Shut up.
It's Dead Weight. It is Dead Weight.
My
the
God.
best song on the album is Dead Weight. First you took it off the album, then you named it the worst song on the album, and you were entirely wrong the entire time. It was the best song. I don't know what you missed about it.
I thought you complained about side 2 feeling a little like harder to get through and a little more like downbeat.
No, I said it was more challenging, right? That's not the same thing.
All right. Technicality.
Yeah, listen, Dead Weight is the best song.
Wow.
Well,
Now
you know what?
why?
Now I know.
Why?
Now I know why Seth Tiven wrote all these songs about how his friends were questionable. You know what I'm saying?
Why? Like, defend it. Like, what is it about it that makes it the best song for you?
I don't know.
Better than Island.
I think it's got
better
a
than
great
Going Nowhere.
chorus. I feel like I love the groove. I like the chorus. I think the choruses are generally what are the strongest thing about his songwriting. And I think the chorus on this one is particularly great. And I also like the subdued vibe. If I'm being honest, it's the same way with Tupelo, honestly. I don't like the rock and roll Tupelo as much as I like the subdued Tupelo.
You want the slowcore. You want the slowcore version of the band. Dead Weight is definitely the slowcore-iest Dumptruck song from this album.
Yeah, I also think that just there is an amount of production and kind of reverb and spaciousness on this album that I think sometimes on the rockier songs, in my opinion, just is more of a mismatch. But on something like this, I think that kind of production works really well. So I don't know.
Right.
I just think it's a few different things combined to make it the greatest song.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, there it is. You can take it from me. I'm an expert in Dumptruck.
Well, you're one of two.
Well, all right. So listen, J. William Hall, we're finished with yet another one of your albums. How does it feel to have accomplished so much?
I feel proud to have contributed to the public discourse on these works of art that have meant so much to me over the years. Not many people have the opportunity nor the talent to pull it off, but J. William Hall has it in spades. So get ready. There's going to be, what, 2 more?
I
Or
can't
one
remember.
more?
Yeah,
Or-
well, we've got the Chameleons for sure. Another
Okay,
terrific interview that we've got for that one.
Oh.
Right?
Cardinal.
Yeah. And Cardinal. Yeah, we've got to
Yes.
do Cardinal.
Yeah, so, we've still got a couple to come, but fear not, listeners. I will be present and contributing to some upcoming episodes featured some of Dan's albums.
Yeah. I've got Idaho coming up, a bunch of great interviews for that one. And, of course, Candlemass that I know that you're excited about.
The one that I'm the most excited about, I'm going to say it. It's an obscure, little known. It's Sting, the Soul Cages.
Sting, the Soul Cages.
Listen.
You know what? I spread it all over the place.
You did. I think it's good that we're going to cover some. That was by any definition, a major album
Yeah.
of its time, but
Yeah.
it's been somewhat forgotten, somewhat
Yeah.
overshadowed, somewhat,
Yeah.
so we're gonna hash it out. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so listen, we gotta go. Do the
Yeah.
social media thing. We're on all of them. It's Backtracking Rocks, ROX. YouTube, go to our people are leaving comments on the YouTube. I'm leaving them a thumbs up and stuff. It's amazing what's happening out there.
Some people are just like, Siri, go to Backtracking, the podcast, the guys are talking about Dumptruck. and she'll find it for you. It's that simple. You don't even have to
It's true.
type anything. Remember.
That's right. Technology is amazing. So do all of those things. And then finally, just send us an email, backtrackingrocksrox@gmail.com. It gets to us through the internet. And that's it. What are we going to cover the next week? Well, there's going to be a special Rush episode. I don't know what's going to happen after that. We're going to have to decide.
Yeah, you guys better start, backtracking your own fucking list of 5.
That's right. That's right.
Jay Williams has been working overtime hours over here.
Maybe we'll do Candlemass. So there it is. All right, so
it's your podcast.
listen, thank you, J. William Hall, as always.
No, thank you, Dan.
All right.
Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Rap and JW and Dan make this podcast every week. Backtracking is the greatest podcast. Get ready for podcast action.